The Life Finder keeps Maiev up. It was going to be a close thing.
And healing, what? Get out of no! No!
Triple stun again. Big flanks coming out from the Blaze.
It's a death metal, though.
Death metal into the double, triple kill.
Alrighty.
Welcome everybody to the Nexus Gaming Series Division B West matchup between Arrogant Nephalem and Running with Turtles. I'm joined here today by Monkus. How's it going?
Hey everybody, it's going great. Really excited to see these two teams play. Running with Turtles might be one of the top teams in B West, and Arrogant Nephalem will really get to see what they're made of. They lost their last game, but they had a lot of subs in, and this is the main roster this time.
Yeah, Running with Turtles had a kind of a rough start, losing 2-0 to Regen Blue, but since then have managed to pick up 2 dominations, putting themselves quite securely up into the top of the current standings, and I expect to see even more of this going forward. It'll be interesting to see. Arrogant Nephalem have been around in the B West division for quite a while, and Running with Turtles took a season off, but they were playing in Heroes Lounge and had a pretty good run there, so I do expect to see them perform reasonably well here in the Nexus Gaming Series.
Yes, and the first map that we're going to, Towers of Doom, was Running with Turtles map choice. I believe that Arrogant Nephalem elected to go first pick. So it will be interesting to see how Running with Turtles plays on their preferred map. What kind of strategy are they wanting to bring here?
I think you mentioned a little bit earlier that Arrogant Nephalem like to run Abathur. Though if Abathur is well known, it tends to be banned in the first opening phase. So we'll see how well the scouting is done here and see if that is to be the case starting up in game number 1.
Well, I don't know if we've seen he may play Abathur in the NGS. As an Abathur player myself, I know that sometimes half the battle is convincing your team to play with your Abathur. Because it takes a lot of adjustment to play with an Abathur and to trust that he's going to be doing what he needs to be doing, and vice versa.
Absolutely. If it's not well executed, it can definitely be an issue. And then there's kind of a few thought processes when it comes into Abathur comps in the first place, and whether you want to go kind of full dive or whether you don't. If the other team is smartly drafting, they can figure out ways to deal with, say a Greymane dive or Illidan or any of those sorts of things that are commonly paired with Abathur. Outside of that, do you think we're going to see anything else funky? Maybe Samuro, or even more out there, Lost Vikings?
Oh, Lost Vikings. This is a strong Lost Vikings map, just because of the ability for a team to completely dedicate themselves to one shrine. And but some of the more out there picks like Zagara, Lost Vikings, Samuro, they often get their most value on maps where your push gains you a permanent advantage. Like if you take out top tower or top keep, then you have pressure going there the entire game. With towers, the strategy changes significantly, where you just want to win the bottom lane and have a chokehold on it. And to that end, you generally need to have at least one hero on the team that can have really good wave clear to either push in the wave or to stop the other wave from coming in at all. As a result, Sylvanas is one of the strongest characters that you could pick on this map. her ability to push in, get that bottom keep or tower super quick means that you can essentially have the game be over 5 minutes in when there are still 20 shots left to go.
Speaking of Sylvanas, in NGS, generally speaking, has actually been a very high win rate, very high popularity pick. A lot of teams picking it up and using it quite effectively in most of the matches in series and almost every division so far that we've seen. Another hero I'd like to draw some attention to is probably ETC. From pretty much never picked last season of NGS, I really think he's catapulted his way up into the top of the meta currently. Why don't you give me some insight on how you think about that?
Well, that happened for a couple of reasons. First and foremost might be that the big patch that happened had a pretty significant nerf to a Nubarak. It nerfed, the big thing that happened is it nerfed his shield, so he has a lot worse sustain and longer fights, and he is much more susceptible to be blowing up than he ever was before. And as a result, with Anubarak falling off in popularity, like, he still is a good tank. He's a great tank, and his web cocoon is still great. But ETC is just a much safer pick, and unlike Diablo, he isn't dependent necessarily on the map giving him good wallstone opportunities. He also fits both in dive comps and in peel comps. Sometimes you want your tank to be able to go in with your divers and follow them through and get that pick. Other times you want your tank to sit back and keep the dive from going on them. With his slide and his knockback, he's able to accomplish both of these tasks reasonably well. And then, of course, Mosh Pit. If you land a good Mosh Pit, you win the fight.
Yeah, Mosh Pit has always been a threat at pretty much any stage of this game at one point or another. Interrupts, of course, can come into it, but if you ever land a long enough one on several members, even if it's only for a short enough period of time, it tends to be quite effective. And I think we're going to start getting the readies coming in from the team captains here, so we should be entering the matchup right away here. Looking forward to it. We got an R from Silver Jackal, looking to see if Arrogant Nephalem are ready to go, and we'll be diving right into this. We're getting a lot of emotes.
My favorite one, Ghost Rage.
We're getting a lot of emotes, but no other R. There's the R. Okay, so we're going to be starting here right now.
Towers of Doom.
Alrighty, into the game we go.
Now, again, like I said, I think Sylvanas is super strong in this map, and she is high priority for pick or ban. Also high priority, Diablo. This is one of his best maps because of all the opportunities.
We're going to see ETC banned out right away. So, as I was mentioning before, he's been catapulted quite high into the meta, and might actually be taking away that first ban slot from Anubarak.
He is, definitely. He is super strong in just about any comp. And especially here, if you're not going to take ETC super early, then just don't deal with it.
And we're going to see the Sylvanas band, as we were talking about beforehand. Very strong on this map, and very strong in general so far in almost every division. So, not a surprise. I'm actually even going to pop up the stats for Sylvanas here. I can remember how to press buttons.
And I believe Trade has played Sylvanas in 2 of the past games this season. So, it's a good job of scouting. And there goes Kael'thas, one of the best control mages in the game for keeping a point locked down and out of your team's control.
Yeah, so Sylvanas had an 80% win rate in B West so far, which is a very strong. Kael'thas is actually, like you said, quite popular at 74%, but only sporting about a 47% win rate. So not sitting too high on that part, but I think, like you said, is a bit of a generalist mage. Does a lot of things well, but definitely still has some weaknesses.
Interesting that they opted to leave Diablo open and banned out and do it. Well, and that might be why. She ate some bans, but she's still a super strong healer, and taking her first pick gives you a lot of options in the mage slot to take and give them massive nano boost power.
Yeah, 65% popularity rate, I think, and still with a positive win rate. We do have Anna first picked here on the side of Arrogant Nephalem. A strong opener, but we're going to have a quick response there from Anubrak and Dahaka. Dahaka giving you the global, which is very strong on this map in particular, and with ETC off the table, I think Anubrak is still a very strong tank to be opening up with.
Well, I think this is much stronger for Diablo because of all of the walls and nooks and crannies that he's stunned into. And like I said, Anubrak ate that nerf, which is more significant than you might think at first. And I also don't think Dahaka is worth picking this early. He is a little weak overall, and main value comes from the burrow. Malthael and Jada pickup.
Yeah,
Malthael, I think, beats Dahaka in the solo lane, just straight up. And he out-rotates Dahaka too if you're going for a double stoke focus spot type strategy.
Yeah, in the previous match I casted, we saw some really, kind of the strength of that hero on this map in particular and what it can actually achieve. And, and the fact that Dahaka was taken so early allowed, Arrogant Nephalem to be able to pick up that offlaner nice and early. So we're going to see Garrosh being banned out on the other side there. I think it's a good ban. I do think Garrosh's strength level isn't as high as some of the other tanks that you can pick up, things like Diablo and things like Johanna, but still definitely offers a lot of early game threat with those quick throws and pickoffs, especially in things that like Anna or Jaina as follow-up damage. If anyone is caught out of position, they can really get a nice quick kill off of any of those throws.
All right. Garrosh works well into certain comps. So what that kind of indicates to me is that the mages and healers they're going for aren't necessarily going to work well against Garrosh. Like, if you could stop Garrosh from engaging, that's pretty good.
See a Lily picked up here, as well as a Greymane. I imagine the pairing is more around the idea that they don't want blinds into the Greymane that they were drafting there, rather than based off of the general strength of the hero itself. But could be wrong.
No, because they already picked Anna, unless they were going for a double support, which I don't think you would do with Lily. Greymane, like it should have been probably Johanna might have been the better pick than Garrosh, because I think that they did the Garrosh ban just for Greymane, so he could engage safer. It was Johanna and Maya picked up by Arrogant Nephalem. They have, I would have thought with Maya they would have gone with Diablo, but again, Johanna does provide a good counter to Greymane, keeps him off of the back line and keeps him blinded. Also, an interesting pick. Greymane and Ludara are both extremely squishy. Both depend a lot on their physical attacks to get in the damage. Ludara to stack the poison, and Greymane just in general. And both are really susceptible to being dove on by Maiev and caught in a warden's cage.
Yeah, I'm quite concerned that the non-targeted heals are going to be a bit of a problem with the aggression coming out from Arrogant Nephalem, but it'll just we'll see how it goes, as they like to say, as we get into the game here, into game number 1. These are your drafts. Go ahead, chat, give us some idea on which do you think got ahead in the drafts here. I think we are personally leaning towards Arrogant Nephalem a bit here with the Maya pickup. The Jaina's great follow-up damage. Johanna's good into the auto attackers, and Malthael will be able to control the macro pretty well in the offlane. So he does have to be concerned a bit by picks, but as they do have a good rotational comp, they could kill him very quickly if he gets caught in rotation. But outside of that, I do really like Arrogant Nephalem's draft.
Arrogant Nephalem, they have a really good draft that counters a lot of what Running with Turtles wants to do with their draft. They can very easily blow somebody up. Lily is terrible at targeted heals. So It'll be very interesting to see. Like, I think if Running with Turtles wins this game, it's going to be from a carry Lord Graven.
Absolutely. And so here we have on the left side of the map in the blue, Arrogant Nephalem, Kime on the Malthael, Segatai on the Johanna, Trabe on the Jaina, Dekiladin on the Mayav, Null Pointer playing Ana.
4, 3.
And for Running with Turtles, we have Silver Jackal, a Grey Maid, Kooks on Nubarak, Alzar on Dahaka, T-Pole on Lily, and DK Unleashed on the Lunar.
Alright, let's have the opening handshake, as I like to call it. See if there's any random kills that come out of this.
Well, there's only one quest mid to achieve, and that's Frostbite. So there isn't really an advantage for Running with Turtles right here. And Malthael's already in the top lane, getting the clear, but Dahaka rotates up fast enough so that Running with Turtles don't miss any of theirs. And now for the action in bot lane 2 minutes.
We're going to see the immediate dive coming out from Nubrak and Greymane right on top of Trey, but
that's
he
a
manages to
4-man!
squeak away.
A 4-man tether right there. This might be a good death right here, or counter engage on Kooks. Malthael already doing the double soak. Dahaka isn't going to be able to keep up with him, not in time. They're going to miss an entire lane of soak mid. They're already half a level ahead.
Yeah, so they didn't go Bonds of Justice, but had he done, he would have had a few stacks off of that 4-man tether. So the aggression kind of turning against them. I was going to point out that with the Anubrak and the Greymane, you could see Running with Turtles get pretty aggressive onto the enemy team side of the map, especially with the Haka being able to dig in. But we're not going to see that here in the opening. I think the initial damage that was done to them scared them enough off of being additionally aggressive here in the bot lane.
And interesting here that Killadin, I know that she likes to go the all-physical build, but it's interesting that she didn't switch it up for the tether build against the Lily. She is sticking with her guts, going with what she knows, and that's nice as momentum at 1. And also, they have almost given up on the rotation here, but Lunara, very low mid, only has 44 HP. She's going to have to back.
That's pretty nuts. I mean, generally, Lunara does not lose trades to melee heroes, but she did there, and that's... And we can also see Alazar getting pressured really hard here in the top lane with Malthael. And a lot of these trades seeming to be going in favor of Arrogant Nephalem to start off the game here. But I will point out that Running Turtles was able to escort that camp in, and they weren't able to get the front wall almost completely down, including the top tower. So despite losing probably a bit in the mid and top lanes, and we can see that in the experience, they did still get something out of the bot lane push.
Yeah, I'm a little curious why Kime hasn't continued to do the double soak. That worked out really well for them. And if he had kept doing that over and over, then there's nothing Running with Turtles could have done except devote one person to either be mid lane and soak and lose the fight bot, or lose the soak mid and devote themselves to bot.
So we're going to have the trades go in. We see Silverjack will get onto the backline, but he's super low. I don't think he's going to finish things off, but it's actually Null Pointer that's in big trouble here from the dive from Alazar and Kooks, but both of them getting super low from the Malthael damage. But in the end, it does look like Running with Turtles is getting away with this fight, getting 2 kills off of that. Segatai walking away with 30 health, and a lot of pressure being put onto Alazar here. He does go down, but they do trade out with the Maiev, and that's a 1 team fight for Running with Turtles. Kind of surprising to see that's how it went.
No, based on how that engagement started, I'm not at all surprised, because what happened is that Arrogant Nephalem got split. Their tank went off in one direction with one DPS, their healer was off in the other direction with another DPS. Dahaka was able to get the flank onto Ana, and they just... You can't let that happen. You got to be able to match up so that your front line and your back line are protected by each other. If the back line had ran towards their side's camp instead of up towards the mid, then I think Arrogant Nephalem has that fight.
Absolutely. So we're going to see the camps being traded out again yet here in the bot lane, although the advantage was slightly on the side of Arrogant Nephalem, but not looking for an aggressive rotation, just looking to push out the lane a bit. I don't know if they're going to be able to push this in as the defense is now coming into place, but we do have Anubrak still in the mid lane trying to catch up with a little bit of Snoke, but he's going to start that rotation down now, and we'll see if they can actually stop this from being pushed in. It doesn't look like it. It actually goes in, hits the wall. That's a pretty good escort from Arrogant Nephalem. Bit of pressure coming out of the Zegatai, but nothing too dire at this moment.
I'm really confused by Arrogant Nephalem's play. Right now they're going 1-1-3. They could have very easily had Malthael double soaking these lanes. Instead, they're basically having him bully out the Haka and having Maiev soak mid. Like, Malthael is the best character for double soaking lanes. He should be the one doing that. And Maiev should be down bottom.
We saw there a lot of pressure coming in from Greymane. He actually almost picked off Zegatai, and he actually also got a lot of damage onto Trabe there. So quite a bit of pressure being brought out with that 4-man to 3-man kind of split. And we can see Zegatai comes back into this, but he was so low to begin with. I'm not entirely certain how long he can actually stay up here with all the poke damage coming in. And that's actually Trabe that gets hit by a drag by Dahaka, and that's actually going to be another kill for the side of Running with Turtles. And these team fights have just not been going in Arrogant Nephalem's favor at all.
Well, I think if Arrogant Nephalem keeps playing like this, then this is going to be Running with Turtles' game. Arrogant Nephalem had a clear advantage starting out. They had a half a level lead, and they were pushing in bot. And then almost immediately, they abandoned that and started having Maiev soak mid. And ever since they did that, they've started falling behind and losing team fights. Yeah. Even if Kime doesn't get full soak, as long as he doesn't get picked off and is able to get some soak top, if they completely focus bottom, they'll win this game.
Yeah, I mean, one of the major reasons that you take Malthael on this map is the ability to be able to double soak and get a macro advantage while allowing your 4-man to pressure the enemy team. And you just haven't been able to see a lot of that come out from Arrogant Nephalem so far, and I think that it has been playing into Running with Turtles' favor, and of course the amount of damage numbers that we're seeing from both Greymane and Lunar are actually quite outclassing those that we're seeing from Arrogant Nephalem. 11,000 out from Jaina, 9,000 out from Maiev. The actual damage leader for them is Malthael.
Yeah, I think right now Running with Turtles just understands their win condition a lot better than Arrogant Nephalem. They're trying to disrupt the double soak, and they're succeeding at it. And Arrogant Nephalem hasn't yet realized that if they dedicate, 1 or 2 people to stopping the double soak, then you can miss half of a wave of experience and then go back up top and get the rest of it. But them trying to stop your double soak means that you have a 4-man advantage on bot, and you push that in.
So I'd say we have a pretty early dig coming out from Dahaka, so he's not going to be able to get any type of flanking position from that. Now we see a 3-man tether plus an arrow into a Ring of Frost, and this is actually a huge engage coming out from Arrogant Nephalem. The first time we've seen a really good fight come in, and they actually get a 4-for-0 wipe. So what we've been looking for this whole game was that type of engage from Arrogant Nephalem, and we finally see it executed right there. Hopefully that'll help them kind of reestablish dominance and be able to get this draft going forward into the direction that we were hoping to see from the start.
Well, that's their other win condition. Get level 10s and land crazy sick Cage into Ring of Frost. The other thing there, with Ring of Frost rooting them, they threw the Nano Burst not onto Jaina, which you might think would be the obvious pick, but onto Maiev, who does way better burst damage with Fan of Knives. The Nano Knives is insanely quick, does insanely high damage. I do think it's a huge mistake leaving bottom here right there. They should be at bottom. They should be defending this with all their might. They don't need to soak mid, and I think they've realized that. If they just stay bottom and defend it, kill those beetles as they come up, Malthael can get whatever soak he can. You need to keep control of this bottom keep. Absolutely.
You've gained the advantage you need. You might as well keep kind of pressing the pedal to the metal, as they would like to see. And they seem to be doing a pretty good job here actually supporting, but Malthael gets picked off in the top lane. I think he was diving too far underneath the opposite side of the map there, and the Haka gets a nice kill. I mean, that's one thing that you got to watch out for. The Haka does do some pretty good single target damage, but we see a nice little dive in here, and that's actually going to be another pick off onto the Grey main. Kuka is also going to go down, and the counter damage coming up from DK Unleashed is just not enough really to pressure out Arrogant Nephalem there, and they're going to get a nice 2-for-1 basically with the Malthael kill in the upper lane in that exchange.
Now they just need to rotate and be able to cap, because if they don't... Okay, good. I think they might get there just in time to stop Lili from capping. The other thing to note about that is that with Ana being open, she threw out a grenade in the center of that cage, and all of Lili's ult was basically negated.
Yeah, absolutely. And it did and that is kind of a bit of the issue with her major form of healing is jugs. Outside of that, the regular healing isn't that good, as it doesn't target. And if you can negate the healing from jugs, it tends to really nerf Lili's ability to sustain her teammates. And that's the thing about Ana. She's quite good into specific healers that are very tied to big cooldowns.
Big cooldowns in a specific area, and especially ones that are predictable, like Jugs is. And this team they're being pre-10 and post-10 have been so different that they'll just be patient, wait for the Killen to initiate with the Ward of Cages, and then they drop all of the weather effects in there and watch the other team basically melt before their icy coldness.
And we're going to see a bit of a counter engage coming out. Blessed Shield does do a pretty good job. Do get a Ring of Frost that lands only onto one. And it looks like they might actually pick off T'Pol, but they're going to trade out. So they do get Maiev in that exchange, and they're going to continue coming in here. We get a nice dig from Dahaka, which I think actually put things in a nice direction, but that last rights does kill out. And we're still a 2-for-2 trade here. But healer is still up on Arrogant Nephalem's side, so being able to push into the air, we get a nice tongue from Alizar. Might actually convert into Tribe Death, but he does get away, peeled out appropriately by Segatai. And now the altars are up, the bot lane is still controlled, and we are going to see a slight advantage as far as death timers for running with turtles, so they might be able to get up onto the opposite side, but still things looking quite good for Arrogant Nephalem.
Yes, if Malthael hadn't died, then this would be such an easy 3-cap, giving them 15 shots, but unfortunately he's only just now coming back up, so they'll be lucky to get this without an interrupt.
And I don't know what they're waiting for here. I am actually quite surprised that Running with Turtles didn't use that man advantage they had there. Maybe actually dive in and get the kills, but now with the rotations...
They're down 16.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. So they're in fact going to use that rotation instead to probably get damage here onto this fort. They might be able to drop it in time, but the rotation is coming in quickly from Arrogant Nephalem to make sure that's not the case.
You always want to keep fort. Okay, they were able to make it in time. I thought they were going to be just a little bit too late, and so they could have taken mid-fort then, and did, while they were Running with Turtles distracted by mid-fort, take bottom again. But this is a lot of pressure coming in from the double soak Malthael. He's taking a camp. That top lane is pushed in pretty significantly.
And so we're seeing a Wizened Duelist Alpha Killer coming out from Greymane. Not exactly my choice when it comes down to a Greymane pick, but
especially since the only person with a ton of HP on that team is Johanna.
The Wizened Duelist is definitely one of those win more talents, and if you're not winning, it can definitely hurt. And giving up that poke damage that you get from Quicksilver Bullets always seems a bit of a risk. And then Alpha Killer on top of that, not going for the damage from Execution here, which I think with this comp in particular can be quite good when combined with Lunara. But we're going to see a fight coming in here. They're trying to get the damage into it. Nice cage. But the kills are going in favor of Running with Turtles. And the fort does go down. No pointer's going to drop. And that actually... The Ring of Frost didn't manage to hit anything else meaningful, and the Jugs did come out, and Ana was not able to get the grenade onto the Jugs that time, which kept everybody alive. So they traded out the Anubrak, but in the end, that was a really good fight for Running with Turtles, and might start their comeback into this game, as it was at an appropriate time to get the next 2 channels, and that's actually going to even up the shots.
It actually gives them the lead, I believe. Yeah, it puts 14-17. Yeah, that was a bad fight for Arrogant Nephalem to take, in part because they were going to lose the tower in that engage. I think, like I said, it would have been better for them, instead of trying to defend bottom, to have taken mid keep instead. And now, just like that, the game was turned around, and the advantage has completely switched over to running with turtles. And that's what Towers of Doom is that it's a game where you can never count someone out.
Yeah, we definitely see that exemplified right here. We'll see if that continues to be the case, if Running with Turtles can maintain this advantage that they've managed to get here, or if we'll see another big Wombo engage coming down. We have 10 seconds on the Warden's Cage, so be looking out for that to occur sometime soon here. But engaging under a fort is not exactly my ideal place to be dropping your Wombo. And Sigurd getting poked out pretty hard by Johanna here, by Lunara here. And that's the thing about Lunara, is she can consistently pressure frontline targets. And you know what? Even with that Alpha Killer might be somewhat helping. Yeah, for sure.
Well, what they can do is wait for them to try to push in this lane with the bombers, and then drop the cage and the tethers so that they end up taking the base shots.
Big three-man tether coming in. Ring of Frost plus cage. Nice little combo there, and we're going to see Dahaka dodge it, although Kooks is going to take a lot of pressure into it, but I don't know if it's going to be enough here. We see a lot of pressure coming out, and it's going to be Key Mega that goes down first. Nice Dahaka tongue. There goes a isolation, but does not land on anyone, but the kill still in favor of Running with Turtles, and now the objectives are up. It's going to be a 5-3. I'm pretty sure they're just going to do the gentleman's agreement to go for their own personal sides. I don't know if
they have 20 advantage, and they have a man down.
I agree with you. This is definitely the right call. And actually, look with that engage with the Nubrak and Gravy right on top of Jaina. That is going to be 2 kills and most likely 2 channels. And that's going to put them within kill range, and in fact they're just going to go right for boss, and I think Running with Turtles might actually be ending the game right here and now.
Yeah, Area Nephalem they have to go and stop the boss. You have to oh man, they must have not realized it, because that was a huge misplay. They started going bot to start clearing it out, but they had to I have no idea what happened at the end there.
So, Arrogant Nephalem had looked quite strong in that matchup. Lost one team fight in the bottom lane, and it just kind of flipped around on them. Running the Turtles, like you said, understanding where their win condition was going to come out with, and as soon as they established it, did not let it go. And I think Arrogant Nephalem got a little bit desperate into the bot lane there to try to get a conversion of that bot tower. Lost Mouthfeel, then went for the channel, and like you said, we're down a man, down 20s. And that was just basically the opportune engagement for Running with Turtles, and they took advantage of it and ended up winning the game off of it. So there's your end of game statistics there. Lunara coming out on top without dying once and with 70,000 hero damage. The next closest to her was Greymane at 45. So Running with Turtles really flexing today and showing that, like Munkus had said earlier today, are really the team to watch this season in B West.
I think that what this came down to in the end is that Running with Turtles had much better, let's just call it shot calling, and a much better game plan. I didn't agree with all of the plays that they did, but they did their plays consistently, and in the end, that's what got them to the victory. Arrogant Nephalem had a great wombo, and they got it off perfectly in the first setup or 2, but every time after that, Anubarak immediately kept his cocoon and waited for Maiev to use, or for Anna to use Nano Boost on Maiev. With that being the case, they should have held the Nano Boost until after Cocoon had been launched. Yeah, drop the Warden's Cage, but don't use the Nano Boost and basically keep Anubarak from using Cocoon until it's too late. You can Nano Boost Jaina if Maiev gets cocooned without the Nano Boost, or vice versa. Also, they went towards the bottom keep when it was almost out. They should have probably pushed mid. And then when they lost their bottom keep down the way that they were, they definitely should have given up bottom and gone mid. Bottom at that point, they weren't going to succeed in taking that back from that heavy dive team. They needed to put pressure on mid, put pressure on top, and then come back down to bottom and try to take it back then.
I think that's a very astute analysis. We finally have the second map chosen. I'm going to pop us over to the overview here. The losing team, Arrogant Nephalem, did go for first pick. So we are going to be going to Volskaya Foundry, which is another choice by running with Turtles. And knowing them, they are quite good on this map in particular. So could be... Sure hope Arrogant Nephalem has something in place to deal with this team on this map, because they definitely know the way around it.
Well, their team comp from last game would honestly work great in this game. Johanna, works depending on your comp. I think that Jaina and Maya, this is one of their stronger maps because of the amount of point control both provide. This is a good Sylvanas map because she can push in and let the Protector do a lot of damage, since now structures will always target the Protector first above all else. And you can't lock down all the structures, but Sylvanas can. Then you have, I think what Arrogant Nephalem should also do is ban out the gray main. I think that, Lunara was able to dish out a lot of damage, but if you look back at the statistics, gray main was all of the kills. He secured every one of their kills, and that's also why you get go for the throat and not cursed bullet. If they go cursed bullet, that's a different game. Yeah,
for certain. I mean, Greymane is definitely tradition. It's kind of one of those classic pairings where you've got one DPS that's kind of core job is to get everyone low, and then you have the other DPS whose job is to finish off the kills. And in that particular game, that's more or less kind of what we saw. Was that Lunar would poke out, we'd find, and it would, if it was poked out enough, we'd get the trigger for Anubrak to make that engagement happen. And as soon as Anubrak goes in, that's when Greymane launches his assault and looks to try to get those quick kills, like I said, with Go for the Throat, which is still traditionally, I think, the stronger ultimate just because of its reliability in getting those burst kills in those fights. But we'll definitely see how that kind of goes out on here. I do like Greymane on this map because the camp priority is even more important than I'd say than even on Towers of Doom, although it's probably quite comparable.
Well, the reason why Cursed Bullet is Trap Talons for a couple reasons. First, you have to use it to initiate, which is not something you ever want to do. Second, you have to hit the tank with it, which means that your tank is your focus priority, and that's hard to do. It's also a skill shot, and like you said, the way that it works with Greymane is you get someone to get them low and use Greymane to finish them off. Go for the Throat finishes people off. Cursed Bullet does not. But yeah, and I think that picking Lunara after Anna was picked, great drafting choice by running with Turtles. Because as you saw during that game, Anna has a hard time keeping up with the healing when it's that much consistent damage spread across that many people.
Well, another thing I like about Lunara is, unlike some other kind of poke damage heroes, she still has her own dive capability with Leaping Strike, which I think is actually really strong into Anna in particular, because she can't, there's no way to get away from it. And every single time that Leaping Strike comes down on top of Anna, she's just a sitting duck and can't really do anything about it. And when you got both Lunara and Greymane putting that type of pressure onto you, it's pretty rough.
See, I would still take the Vines, even if you're in that full dive comp like that, because it has good range and good hit. I think that the reason why you take Leaping Vault is for the mobility and the escape tools.
Sure.
Like, if Garrosh chucks you, then Lunara just says, "Ha-ha!" and jumps back over.
Alrighty, folks, we'll be getting into the game here right away. 3, 2, 11.
Now, Which member of Running with Turtles do you think is Donatello, and which one is Michelangelo?
I don't know. It's a good question. And the problem is there's only 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
But there's also Master Splinter.
That's a fair point.
And there's also the live-action TV
show
we don't talk about.
Who's the fighty guy, the hockey guy?
Oh, I didn't get into that Volskaya game. Like I clicked on it and it's oops.
Oh geez. Hold on. Let's fix that up. I didn't realize you hadn't popped in. That's my bad.
Yeah, I had clicked on it when you posted the thing, and then I just kept on talking and like looking over at the Twitch chat to see if anything had been said. I didn't realize it had never joined the lobby for me, so.
Alrighty, well, I'll get this one fired up one more time. No problems.
Everybody's in the lobby that you had made. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, perfect. Okay, well that's good. Alrighty. Let's see if I can get you invited here. We have to go through the channel.
Yeah, Null Pointer is now the host.
Well, that's perfect.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then. Let's I'll set up properly, make sure that everybody is on the appropriate captains. Alright. Ready?
Looks like everyone's ready.
Oh, I didn't do my 11th. Oh. Remake.
We'll do it 100 times until we get it right.
Okay.
Did we see the same bands as last time? Was it Sylvanas ETC?
Fun. Alrighty. Oh man.
Oh, now Arrogant Nephalem is banning ETC. Interesting.
No, they banned it first last time too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Arrogant Nephalem had first pick last time, and their first ban was ETC, which I think is still good. I think that's a. But again, it's you can't underestimate that threat from a Nubrak. And like you said, when those cocoons are on point, they really mess up any type of longbow combo you're trying to put together. And so it'll be interesting to see if it makes it through the ban and first pick phase, because on this map, again, Nubrak is still strong. And while, like you said, the W nerf can be impactful, it's still kind of a skill thing. If you're good at timing out your Ws, you're still going to be able to get value out of it. But I also have been seeing a lot of Legions of Beetles basically as response to that, as it does spawn more of those little guys, and kind of makes up for a bit of the fact, especially if you're going up against skill shots, which on this map in particular, it's not uncommon to see things like Li Ming. So we'll see kind of how the draft unfolds. But Kael'thas is going to be banned yet again. Sylvanas was banned in the first rotation again, which is not a surprise, as she is super strong on both maps that we've had so far.
I think part of the problem with the Cocoon is that Arrogant Nephalem never drafted a hero to deal with Cocoon. If you have someone like Tychus, then he can basically delete the Cocoon. Or if Anna is surprisingly good at taking out the Cocoon because of her poison. It's not how much damage you do, it's how many attacks it can suffer per second. So something like Anna stacking poison, she's essentially hitting it twice.
So we're going to see Anna picked up again from Arrogant Nephalem in the first phase. And like I said, they did have Anna in the last time, but I guess she just wasn't focused enough on getting the Nubrak, and that's going to be the first things that we're going to see picked up by Kooks and Silverjackal. There is also going to pick up the Jaina. So Jaina now going to the other side, trying to deny any of that further wombo that we saw in game number 1, and just a generally good, strong mage hero. We also saw a lot of mage targeting coming out from Arrogant Nephalem against Running with Turtles, so I imagine that they're just trying to secure that nice and early.
You're probably right. It's interesting they stole Jaina from Arrogant Nephalem. What did they have in that slot last time? Do you remember?
In the 1-2, they took a Nubrak, and they took Greymane? No, they took the Haka. They took the Haka.
The Haka.
Yeah.
I think taking Jaina over to Haka is a much better decision. Jaina brings a lot more value.
Yeah, I mean, the Dahaka play was really good. Like, I didn't have any problems really with Alizar's Dahaka. He didn't get himself picked off in off lanes. He soaked as frequently as he could, and most of his digs, not all of his digs, most of his good digs were good. In fact, the one time that I pointed out that he had a bad dig was the one time it was one of the one times that they lost a major team fight. It's probably because it was an early dig.
It isn't that the Haka didn't do well. It's not that. Yeah. It's that
early is just unnecessary. I get it.
Right. He's not super highly contested, and Jaina is, and Malthael, like, I think if Arrogant Nephalem had played the double soak Malthael comp more correctly, then Dahaka would have been in a lot of trouble, because he cannot double soak while to the level that Malthael can.
Yeah, that's true. So we're going to see Deckard and Greymane, and I'm really liking Running with Turtles' approach.
Really shocked that they didn't ban Greymane, because I think Greymane was a major contributor to the loss. Like, he was able to dive in the backline and get a lot accomplished.
Yeah, for sure. Johanna was banned too by Running with Turtles, which I think is going to maybe put them into a Diablo, which I honestly wouldn't mind with Maiev. It's a good dive kind of companion to have with you. Helps kind of... And we're going to get Gazlo.
Traves Gazlo. This is great. I love Traves Gazlo. He never gets to play it, though. It's like... You can't ban his Gazlo because of how niche that is, and he's probably not playing it the majority of the time, but his Gazlo is very good, and it's not an offlane Gazlo either. Oh, interesting.
We're gonna get double support, which I think on this map in particular is actually fine. If of all the maps that can be double support, Volskaya tends to be one of the ones that I think works out fine with it. There's not a lot of double soaking that needs to happen here. There's not a lot of lane control. It's pretty easy to just kind of rotate down, drop a wave, pop back up again. So going for that Uther is going to help with the dive. In particular, if they go D-Shield, means Greymane can really unleash on that backline and can be a real problem, actually. I'm actually really liking the double support pickup here by Running the Turtles.
The double support is fine. I'm wondering if they decided to go with the double support later in the comp. So they wouldn't necessarily pick Deckard as the second, or as the support to go with Uther. Uther is almost always the guy you want for double support because he brings the targeted stun and D-Shield or Divine Storm, whichever one you think works best. But like neither Uther nor Kane really does a lane very well. Whereas someone like Rhaegar, who has very bad single target heals and really good group heals, can do lane and camp really well. I think that double support Rhaegar Uther is particularly strong.
Anyways, to start off the match, we're going to have on the blue side, looking for the Equalizer, Arrogant Nephalem, Kime on the Malthael, to kill it in on the Maiev, Null Pointer on the Anna, Segatai playing Diablo, and Trave on the Gazlo.
And on the red side, for Running with Turtles, we have Silverjackal on Greymane, T-Pole on Deckard, Alzar on Uther, Kooks on Anubarak, and DK Unleashed on Jaina.
I understand the idea behind the laning assignments, but Uther can effectively hold the lane without getting picked pretty well. And he does cover the weaknesses of Deckard, which is his inability to save a burst target, whereas Uther actually covers that very, very well. So it'll be interesting to see how it kind of all matches out. Gazlo being kind of the major, kind of the
Wow!
Yeah, what a good... I lost track of my thoughts with that engagement, and Greymane got a little bit aggressive on the other side and didn't really manage it, but you know what I'm really excited for is Warden's Cage into Gravel Bomb. It's going to be one hell of a wombo.
especially last till 20 and he gets miniature black hole, and knowing Trey, that's what he would do. That's amazing. But also at level 10, that's also when Uther can get... I'm not sure which one he wants, because he can go Divine Storm and just shut down Maiev in her cage, or he could go Gravel Bomb. And see, the other thing is here, with the Uther in this comp, and with Gravel Bomb, with Maiev, I definitely would have switched her build away from Naisha's Memento, go into sort of the Cruel Chain build, and grab Pin down, because with the Gravel Bomb and Cage, you're bringing all these people in and forcing them to fight in one spot. You can easily get Pin down completed in one thing. And also, you don't want to be in the cage with a Divine Storm Uther.
Yeah, definitely. I've been warming to the Bonds of Justice build actually quite a bit. Maiev can actually do some of the highest DPS in the game with that build. If done right.
Damage output with her knives as it's getting a reset is more than Dragon Blade Genji.
We're going to see a quick, camp grab here. I think it's an attempt to kind of catch up a bit in the experience, which they've been falling behind, but if they miss that top wave, it's not going to really help them out much, but they do manage to pick that up as well. Malthael's been doing a pretty good job of getting that mid-top rotation, or mid-bot rotation down pretty well, and like I said, Uther can't really keep up, nor can he really duel with Malthael, as despite him having some healing capabilities, he can keep himself alive. You certainly can't wave clear or fight with him in any major sense of the word.
And I think Arrogant Nephalem has the much better play here. They're going to get their level 7s. They're going to clear out the wave over Jaina coming top. That's a bit problematic for Dekilden, but she manages to get away. Surprised that they didn't all either converge top to help or converge mid to contest. Because right now, Riding with Turtles is doing pretty much the same thing that Arrogant Nephalem is doing, Sophie to 7, except they have control over the point.
Yeah, they have 60% now, and they can actually just walk off this thing now, hit 7s and come back in, and they have a significant lead, 71% channeled before it's actually given up, and it's actually a really good start to the first Protector. Now, my opinion on Protectors, generally speaking, is if early game Protectors don't do a whole lot.
Look top. We got a camp being done by Greymane.
Oh yeah, I see. And nice quick rotation here. Again, they have the space to do so. They have 71% on the channel. They hit level 7s, and now they have the item advantage, which could be a huge factor coming into here. Now, it's kind of hard to engage in on Gazlo turrets, and then Diablo also is really rough to kind of walk up into, but they're putting the two toughest ones first. Uther getting nice in there, Nubrak getting a nice little dive, but we see a good tether coming out from Maiev onto two targets, and that's actually a ton of damage being dished out onto Arrogant Nephalem, or onto Running with Turtles, and they actually have to back out in a nice snipe from Gazlo.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh wait, here we go, Kooks, he's in trouble. Yeah, he's dead. That's a first Protector to Arrogant Nephalem.
So, despite all that setup, the thing is if you're going to give up that shrine and then come back in, you better be sure you can get it. And I think the problem is engaging into that is just such a nice area for both Gazlo and Maiev to kind of to do what they want to do, which is get right onto the targets, as you know they're going to be walking into a specific area. And we saw quite a bit of that right then and there, and it got a lot of value done.
I think part of the problem is also that, like, what I was going to say before is that that Kane can also set up on the point like Gazlo by putting all of his pots there, but he put them all into the same spot, and with the turrets there just dinking away at people, I think Uther ate 3 pots while he was at 99% health. Because he had to walk through them to get on the point. If Kane had spread out those potions so that people could run into them while they were on the point, I think that fight could have gone a lot differently.
That's a good point, and I think that's something that's understated quite often, is that pot placement actually makes a huge effect on your ability to control points, because Decker Kane is traditionally strong here, but now he's in a bit of trouble here. That engagement from Diablo plus the 10s coming in, but the cleanse comes through, doesn't manage to actually get it. Wait, there was no cleanse. How did he walk out of the cage? Must not have popped in time.
The cage didn't pop up in time. That was Dak needed to have dropped the cage a lot earlier, like when she had the tether to have dropped it, and instead we had what was that, 3 ults burned for basically nothing.
I mean, I give him props for the attempt. You generally want to try to get value out of your ults, typically, when you have that type of advantage, but the execution was definitely off and did not manage to net them a kill, which almost looked like a sure thing considering the positioning of Deckard at the time.
I mean, Uther was definitely dead right there if they had landed that combo off. Also, okay, Arrogant Nephalem was just now rotating down to do their camp. Running with Turtles has a bit of an advantage. They might be able to get this fortification camp up again before the objective spawns, and certainly before it's done channeling. It looks like Uther did go Divine Shield.
Okay, well, I think enabling the Greymane dive is not a bad idea. I understand Divine Storm's value for sure, but having that extra bit of save capability and allowing Greymane to really just unleash onto the backline is still not to be underestimated.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going through their talents right now. Greymane went Emerald at 7, which basically gives him his own kind of Ana grenade, and since he doesn't have to really worry about the healing sustain as much with Uther on his team, the level 7 really opens it up. And Malthael getting rotated on.
Roasted in the bot lane. Good 4-man rotation, finding him a little bit. And that's the thing about Malthael, he's a fantastic offlaner, but versus a lot of other ones that you can pick, he does not have the survivability from ganks. If he's caught too far out, and they definitely finally abuse that and really kind of push it ahead. But still, Arrogant Nephalem ahead in the experience department is going to hit 13s first. Malthael is up in time for this shrine contesting to happen, and I think Running with Turtles can channel a little bit on this, but then they're going to have to back out.
Here's what I do if I'm Arrogant Nephalem: give up the early channel, grab the enemy team's fortification camp bot. Say, okay, you know what? You can have the first 3%. We're gonna come into this with an item advantage.
Good flip over on DK Unleashed. He's actually gonna go down here. He does drop the turret in time. Grab a bomb as follow up, and that's gonna be nasty onto Greymane.
Yeah, that's a healing camp.
Yep. So that was a wonderful trade. Diablo really initializing all of that, finding Jaina a little bit too far forward, causing the engagement to happen. And you know what? This is kind of what I felt like we were missing a bit in the first game. Johanna just doesn't bring that type of aggression into it and doesn't give you that hard engage that Diablo tends to. And I think Diablo in this game is really showing what he can do and really amplifying this composition's strengths.
I mean, I understand why they went Johanna in game 1, the blinds for Deckard. But I think that, like you said, that Diablo is just a much better fit for their team. With Apocalypse, especially. Oh, might be a hit. Diablo. Whoa, instead!
Yeah, we got the counter engage with the gravel bomb into the Warden's cage again as they came off cooldown. Well, it wasn't Warden's cage. Snipe! A good snipe from Gazlo, making sure that Greymane goes down here. And really just not going to see a lot of effect from this. We see the Cocoon finally going down on Ana, But it is 3v4 here, and I think that Running with Turtles has to back off this point and give up the objective yet again to Arrogant Nephalem.
And these 16s are coming online soon for Arrogant and Nephalem. They get that. They get this. And Malthael, I think, is going down to the camp. To be honest, they should drive this protector all the way bottom and get Malthael to plant his butt inside it.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. You know you can't really end off of this protector. I mean, if you're really massively ahead, you probably can, if you've got great siege damage to follow it up. But yeah, I think the general strategy here is just walk it down bot, get the advantage you can there, because if you can get the bottom well, which they already did, and get this fort out of the way, it makes the next objective actually threaten keep.
Oh, Kime! What are you doing, buddy?
Gonna go down.
And he'd probably he could have gotten away from that if he did use that E.
And
he should have been in that protector.
Yeah, I agree. His siege damage isn't really good enough. Unless he's double soaking, there's really no reason not to put him into the protector. But this kind of goes down to what I talk about with the protectors a lot of the time, is that with the nerfs to it, its team fighting capability being so low, there's not a lot of protection for your backline. You're just not able to actually peel out or team fight well with the with it, and you have to commit 2 heroes to it. Yeah, big stun. Gazlo goes down, and now we start to see Running with Turtles doing a lot of what we saw last game, which is it gets into the later parts of the game, they really start turning it on and getting those kills, and and that protector still got a lot of value though. They got the bottom fort out of the way.
The protector got a lot of value, but that was a lot of mishandling of it by Arrogant Nephalem. Kime should have been the one in it, for one thing. Diablo should not have been in it. He needs to be out to peel. I think Anna should have been the one inside.
Yeah.
Like, Anna can't do anything without her tank protecting her, and like you said, protector provides no peel.
And so we see Running with Turtles realizing that they have this advantage now. They're actually going to even out the bot lane, and that's going to give them a bit of a leg up here into the next objective. And that's a good start for them. Now, we still have a full Souls Diablo. And so that still means that they have a big thing to get through, basically, into the next Shrine fight. But we do have bot lane control in the hands of Running with Turtles. And we're going to see a bit of maybe a post looking for picks here. Segatai just
wow.
Nubarak and Diablo just kind of looking at each other for a little bit there.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, oh goodness, big fight coming in here. Grabo bomb, cage, stun, big hits.
So that, it was Uther that went down from the last rites, but he's just going to be able to heal up to Paul. And yeah, Gramian actually manages to pick off, so that's actually a 3 for 3. No one getting a major advantage. It might actually be 4 as DK Unleash actually picks off the Gazlo. So
yeah,
in the end, that was actually favorable for Running with Turtles.
And Diablo should be going up and contesting this. They have just Kane and Jay that he has a camp of his own, and they're in a position where he can easily kill them. And I hate to be singling out one person, but he may use last rites on the last person they want to kill in that comp, which is Uther. Like, Uther is still a hero for a good however many seconds after he dies, whereas if you kill anyone else, they're out of that fight.
Yeah, Uther had already used his cleanse. He didn't have D-Shield up anymore. So all he really needed to do was get some stuns in and heal. If he goes down to last rites, that's fine. He gets a huge healing burst, and it's fundamentally one of the reasons that they managed to get that kill on Malthael and turn that fight into a 3v4, or a 3 for 4, which was, in the end, much more favorable for Running with Turtles. This next objective is going to be a major contest, and if Running with Turtles take this with that bottom fort down, they're pretty much in the same position as Arrogant Nephalem.
Right, Arrogant Nephalem just hasn't been. They keep making some pretty easy errors right after they make some pretty amazing fights. Like, they still haven't finished off top fort. That should have been dead a long time ago. Trade should have stayed up to finish it off while the thing was pushing down, or Malthael should have pushed in the lane further while bottom fort was going down.
So we got this dive onto Diablo, but Anubrak overshot it. It actually went too far. Ring of Frost comes down, doesn't land on anyone, but it does still look like it's Diablo going down. Uther gets tethered in, the Cocoon going on to Mayav. D-Shield coming out on Greymane for some weird reason. I don't know if that was really worthwhile. Mayav might be able to get out. She does manage to nope out just in time, but that's a Diablo Souls reset. And they're still Go for the Throat and Stay a While and Listen available for running with Turtles, which I think puts them into a pretty good position here moving forward. But they do have to rotate up to deal with the camp that's pushing in the top lane, as if this is left too long, it can absolutely take the top keep.
Yeah, this is the time for Nephalem to get some capture points. They should have known about that. That they should have known that they were on to that Merc point. They could have very easily invaded on that.
Although it was quite amusing. The Nubrak dove and he just kept diving. He went right past Diablo. All right, here's the engagement coming out onto Mayav. She is able to nope out. Nubrak is now right on top of Ana, which is not where you want to be, especially with Jaina sitting right on top of her. She's going to go down, and then that's Diablo also picked off as he has no souls. He can't live through it. Last Rites does finish off the Greymane, though, which is actually a good placement, but Kime is going to die here, and that is a 4-for-1. And
4
well,
for 3.
at least, and yeah, there's
now it's a 4-for-4.
Now it's a 4-for-1. Maltheo, of course, buying himself back. It was actually a full team wipe, but, you know, that little level 20 cheat of his allows him to get back into the game. But this is looking really bad for Arrogant Nephalem. In fact, because they can push this up and actually get this keep, this means Protector is going to be hitting core.
Right.
The one saving grace is Greymane is dead. That's basically the one thing that might help them out here. But this is a full Protector that has direct access to the core.
Oh wait, if Greymane wasn't dead, this game would probably be over because of the amount of siege they would have incoming on the core.
Yeah.
Instead, Greymane's not going to arrive for another, 20-ish seconds, and all of Arrogant Nephalem will be up. And yeah, indeed, Running with Turtles recognizes this, and instead of going straight to the core, they're going to put some punches on that middle keep and floor.
Yeah, like old Protector, this was game. Like flat out, 100%, this game was over. But with new Protector, it's just such a risky endeavor to actually push up onto the core at this stage of the game. And unfortunately, that's... so Running with Turtles recognizing this as, hey, we can still get a lot done, and we're going to go take out the mid fort. That's going to help us out in the next objective phase. And we're going to push here in the mid lane. We might be able to get a second keep. We do get a nice dive onto Uther. He does have redemption, though, so I don't think that's going to matter much, but he de-shields himself. Not exactly my favorite call of the night, especially since last night's going to pop out onto him anyways. He will be back up, though, so I don't think that Running with Turtles actually lose a whole lot out of this. It was kind of questionable whether they were going to get the keep or not, but DK Unleashed now, they're a bit of trouble. The Ice Block does come out, but it's not going to be able to avoid all of that damage.
Big stun! Oh, wow. That's huge.
And Greymane's still managing to get the pickoffs, though, just one after another, and Trey walks out with 8 health. He had 8 before the regen kicked in. Literally 8 health. That was insane. That Greymane just absolutely went nuts there. But could you imagine if they had D-Shield there still available for him?
Yeah. I mean, they had gotten 2 kills for 1, and then immediately turned around and became a 2 for 3.
I do think this core push might be a little over. They might get damage here. They might be able to finish it, but I'm not entirely certain that this is going to happen here. I don't know. It seems to be continuing to go down. Yeah, it looks like it is going to go down.
Greymane is too much of a problem.
That's it. That's game. GG's. So Running with Turtle taking another 2-0 over Arrogant Nephalem. Very close series. And we've been seeing quite a bit of that as B West is actually a very tight division. Lots of really close matchups. So we do see, like, it was a 2-0 domination, but as we could see in both games, it was not decisive one way or another. Just kind of came down to a few late game kind of team fights and things like that. And that last fight there was really close. I mean, Greymane was just able to get into the backline and pop off, and that's more or less what won the fight.
I feel like there are two things that went wrong here. One was letting Greymane go through the draft. Like Greymane versus, say, Anduin. I think that Greymane, they banned out Anduin to allow their Wombo to have full potential. But if everybody's grouping up, then they're still going to eat the stun from Apocalypse. And you have so many stuns beyond that. There's just no reason to let Greymane go through, and he was such a huge problem last time. And like you said, just all the mental mistakes. 73,000 damage done by Greymane in that fight, or in that game.
Yeah.
And 9 kills. That's enormous.
Yeah, Silver Jacko really popping off on the hero and doing a fantastic job on it. So, as we'll see there, here's the talents there at the end of the game. If anyone is interested in looking at it, we did get Wizened Duelist. We did get Alpha Killer into the Tooth and Claw. And when that build comes online, it definitely does a lot of damage. So, I think Greymane, despite having 5 deaths, was still managed to be able to get something out of it. Especially as the late game went along, he wasn't trading out he was trading out more than he was actually dying. So it actually ended up netting in their favor and ended up kind of getting the game. And I think the Nubrak was also a really good pickup for running with Turtles in both games, and had a lot of really good plays that enabled their team to do what they needed to do to close out the victory. We're probably going to look for an interview here if anyone is still up to it, as it is getting quite late.
Right. Interesting that they were more afraid of Mosh Pit and Power Word Holy than they were of Cocoon and Greymane. Greymane got a lot of buffs. He is very strong. You cannot sleep on that Greymane.
Definitely not. So I'm just messaging the captain to see if we can get a quick interview here. Let's move ourselves into, I assume, the only lobby, there shouldn't be anything taken up as we're super late, so lobby 1 we're going to be going for.
Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going?
No, sloppy, but we still pulled a 2-0.
I mean, I don't think it was necessarily sloppy. I think you guys played a pretty good, solid 2 games. I think Arrogant Nephalem had some really aggro drafts that put it really on your guys' end to get the execution out. And in some cases, that was definitely difficult to do, but in the end, you ended up clutching it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that y'all played pretty solidly. I think that one of your biggest strengths was that you were able to adapt as the games went on, and you saw what was giving you problems, and you were able to work around that.
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to, adjust and pull it through.
So, my first question for you is on Towers of Doom. What's the initial thought process behind the Lily pick?
Blinds, and that's one of T-Pole's favorite healers.
Yeah, simple answer. There you go. No problem. It did end up, winning another match, so that's always really good going through.
Yeah, she's determined to improve Lily's win rate.
Well, she did a pretty good job of it today, at least getting one of those on the board for sure. We saw in game number 1 the Greymane Lunara kind of combination. Tell us a bit about that.
We play Anna a lot, so we know it's difficult for her to heal through all that poison damage and Greymane's burst damage, especially with just a new wreck keeping them stunned to locked.
You've certainly shown people why they can't sleep on Anubarak, that he's still that even with the nerfs, he is still a strong hero with Cocoon and a self-stun combo.
Yeah, he's by far the strongest tank with the stun chain.
So do you think Greymane was the one who benefited the most from the patch? I saw you picked him up in both games.
Yeah, I used to play Greymane all the time, and he sort of fell off the meta. He wasn't really off it, but wasn't really viable, I guess you could say. So those buffs to the base speed and his basic attack damage has really improved him a lot.
And I want to thank your Greymane Greymane player for not taking cursed bullets and actually taking go for the throat.
Yeah, that's me. And I'm not the biggest fan of cursed bullet unless I'm playing quick match and just messing around.
Yeah.
So, game number 2. What do you guys think about the Gazlo?
We were, shocked to see it come out, but he is strong. That's one of his strong maps if you get set up early on the point. And he definitely has a strong, the stun combo with his gravel bomb and the Warden's Cage is interesting combination.
Yeah, we saw the effect of that in the kind of the first point where he had all the turrets set up and you guys weren't quite able to actually. You gave it up, looking to come back in to re-engage with the item advantage and everything, but having to gauge through all of that seemed both Gazlo and then Maiev also seemed to be a bit of a challenge.
Certainly, all those turrets is pretty much they are like, yeah, you guys might have items, but we have more turrets.
Yeah, in the end, we've got more turrets. That's the advantage of Gazlo for you. But outside of that, I think you guys played the macro pretty well on that map. Actually, it seemed to be something that you know pretty well. Like the item rotations, the camp rotations, actually, how quickly and how often they were pushed out was actually quite good. And then getting into the third objective area, finding that kill into Malthael kind of started the snowball in your favor. Were you concerned?
We figured.
Yeah, go ahead.
We figured we couldn't keep doing 5v5, so we're like, Malthael keeps overextending. Let him feel safe, get him his confidence up, and then start picking him off.
Yeah, I was kind of curious on whether you guys were concerned about the Malthael or was that kind of the game plan going into it. You didn't quite get enough of that execution in game 1, but in game 2, it definitely looked like something more of the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
also, always fun to try new things. The Uther double support comp, we tried it out. We definitely need to practice it more, but
we were discussing a bit about the Divine Shield versus Divine Storm. Did you guys have that discussion at all?
We were mostly thinking, de-shield Greymane and just let him go nuts.
Mm-hmm. Oh, now, did you decide during the draft to go double support, or was that like something that you had decided, okay, let's do the double support Uther if this and this happens before the draft?
Kind of both. We've been, pulling it up, trying to practice it. And we figured, let's try it on Volskaya because that's, a good strong map to have double support, especially since they keep letting a new brat go through and that can continue the stun lock.
Right.
And that's what we kept our last pick in case we needed to flex it, but we just decided that it would work.
That last fight got a little hairy. How did Greymane manage to dodge all of that stuff and still get the kills in the back end? I was the last thing I checked, I'm like, well, this fight looks like it's going Arrogant Nephalem's favor, and then all of a sudden everyone's dead on the other side. And you were playing the Greymane in there. I'm sure that was a pretty high stress moment for you.
Mostly it wasn't too much. I was like, all I need to do is focus Diablo because I have the 100% cleave damage and percent damage. So it just wrecks everybody around him. And then T-Pull pulled off that awesome stay a while and listen, and everybody was just grouped around Diablo. So I sidestepped the stuns, and then I just trusted my healers to keep me alive while I did Greymane things.
That actually brings up one more thing too as well. Wisdom Duelist, is that really is that what you feel is the right way to go with Greymane these days?
So I feel, yes, since his basic attack damage got buffed, the extra, even 1% makes a big difference to him. I used to go Cocktail all the time, but I'm really liking the Wisdom Duelist.
Yeah, from what I can see, Cocktail still hasn't been brought to the level where it needs to be, and that auto-attack Greymane is what you really want.
Yeah. So if you can get even a little bit percentage to that extra damage, it does help a lot.
Alrighty then. Before we wrap this up, go ahead, Monkus.
Oh, I was gonna say, but the way that I always see people tend to go is Quicksilver bullets, because that extra 1.1 range is just, it's so big.
Yeah, it really is, but I prefer diving in than standing back, to be honest.
You're a full ham wolf.
I like being aggressive, yeah.
Nice.
So going forward, you guys have, after dropping 2-0 to Regen Blue in the first matchup of the season, you've been able to pretty much take out everyone else so far. Anyone else going forward that you're concerned about as far as matchups are going forward, or who are you watching out for in the division?
Right now, I guess we're tied with first place with Unemployed. I believe we're playing them next week or the week after. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm looking forward to that match to see how it goes, since, Rexpo has been talking a lot of shit about everybody. So.
Oh, yes, he is. He's definitely been talking a lot of trash, and you're going to have to play them to see if he can back that up.
Mm-hmm. We would like to play Regen Blue again. I feel like we had nerves, and they surprised us with that Samuro pick. I scouted them. I didn't even realize they played that, and we were just kind of off guard with it.
Hey, well, logical decisions waiting for that rematch too, so.
Yeah. Definitely was some good matches with them.
Alrighty, any shout-outs before we go?
Yeah, I'll shout out my team, of course. Shout out to our manager, Cat Peach. Shout out to Arrogant Nephalem. It was definitely some close matches. It could have gone either way. Shout out to, I guess, NGS and you guys for setting this all up and for casting it with us. So we appreciate it.
No, man, our pleasure.
Yeah. It was a blast.
Thanks a lot for the games. Have a wonderful night.
All right, okay. You as well.
Alrighty, Monkus, that's going to wrap us up for the end of the stream tonight. Thank you for joining us. Where can everyone find you?
They can find me. I sometimes stream my practice, and I sometimes stream some Magic the Gathering Arena games, and I do that on twitch.tv/MonkusBeaver.
Fantastic. I need to get into that game. I have been sleeping on it for a while, but I should probably try.
Well, you can watch some of my videos where me and Mega Muffin do drafts and play some various deck types.
Sounds like a sounds like a plan.
Pick it up.
All right. Well, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. It's always nice to have someone to talk to when you're doing these types of casts, especially when you feel as crappy as I do right now. It's nice to have someone that can talk when I'm not. So it's been a blast. Thank you for coming in today, and everybody that's in chat. If you have not hit the follow button, please do. I definitely appreciate it. Help support the stream. If you are feeling extra generous, there are biddies or subs. Or even the donation jar is sitting at the bottom of the stream. They're ready and waiting, and I would be much appreciated. Other than that, we all love NGS. Thanks for all coming, and we'll catch you tomorrow on my next cast, where I will be casting... who am I casting? Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. Is it Minion Miners and Rush B? Yeah. I will be casting Minion Miners versus Rush B at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. Anyways, thank you all. Have a wonderful night.